The relationship amongst European nations during the second half of the 20th century was characterized in large part by the tensions of the Cold War. Though the Second World War had ended, another war seemed imminent, as ideological differences, which had been momentarily relaxed by the war, came to the foreground again. By 1949, tensions have risen to the point that Europe is officially separated into East and West, with the creation of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization and its counterpart, the Warsaw Pact. By this time, Russia has claimed its satellites, having been guaranteed friendly neighboring governments at the Yalta Conference in 1945. With that promise, Russia was effectively given control of Eastern Europe. The Soviet Union further alienates itself when it refuses to participate in the Marshall Plan of 1947 and asserts control over Czechoslovakia and Poland. Furthermore, Truman's doctrine challenges Russian ideals by condemning communism. This declaration unites anti-communist forces, but estranges Russia. The formal separation of Germany in 1949 verifies the division, and with the lines drawn by the NATO alliance and the Warsaw Pact, Churchill's Iron Curtain takes a definitive shape. In 1961, Russia builds a wall separating East and West Germany, reinforcing the separation of East and West Europe. In 1962, the Cuban Missile Crisis further stressed between Eastern and Western powers. With the risk of war at hand, the world holds its breath. However, once the threat of war is eased, efforts are made to actively move towards peace, like an arms treaty signed by Russia and the US. However, in 1968, Czechoslovakia attempts to subvert itself from Russian control. Russia forcibly intervenes, and Brezhnev's declaration of Russia's commitment to communist ideals pushes peace a step further. A glimmer of hope is found in the Helsinki Accords of 1975. Both Eastern and Western countries agree to uphold human rights, encouraging cooperation. Still, ideals clash as the Vietnam War becomes a front for European conflict. Communists and anti-communists take sides and demonstrate their loyalty. By the latter end of the century, however, Russia is losing its influence. Sapped by an unrelenting arms race with a failing economy, Russia's eastern influence begins to decline. Gorbachev, the newly elected secretary of the Communist Party, instigates reforms and makes moves towards unity. He introduces perestroika, or restructuring, which moves the Russian economy towards a more liberal policy, and glasnost, a movement towards openness and critique of the government which further moves Russia towards a less controlling state and encourages unity with Western Europe. Emboldened by this, in 1989, revolutions in previously Russian satellites undermine Russian power and begin the deconstructing of the Iron Curtain. One of the greatest symbols of lessening barriers is the destruction of the Berlin Wall, representative of the improving relations.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Reporting tonight from Berlin.
From the Berlin Wall specifically, take a look at them. They've been there since last night. They are here in the thousands. They are here in the tens of thousands. Occasionally they shout, Die Mauer muss weg, the wall must go. Thousands and thousands of West Germans come to make the point that the wall has suddenly become irrelevant. Something, as you can see, almost to party on. How do you measure such an astonishing moment in history? The East German government said tonight they were going to make more openings in the wall, at least a dozen more, put bulldozers right through the wall so that more people could cross to the west. The East German communist leadership tonight said there'd be a new election law guaranteeing secret elections which the rest of the world could monitor. And only 24 hours after East Germans were told they could go anywhere, anytime, the Soviet Union said that was a sensible move.
In 1990, Germany reunifies, illustrating again the newfound sense of unity in Europe as a whole. Subsequently, all former USSR satellite states abjure communist rule through peaceful and some bloodier revolutions. Eventually, the Soviet Union collapses, with former Soviet republics declaring independence. With the collapse of the Soviet Union, tensions have been greatly decreased between the two hemispheres of Europe. In 1991, the Warsaw Pact is dissolved, a move towards improving relations by erasing the lines of the Iron Curtain. In 1993, European unity is confirmed with the creation of the European Union. However, newly independent Yugoslavia causes a disturbance in the hesitant peace that has settled over Europe. When civil war breaks out, NATO has to intervene. Still nursing old tensions, Russia makes moves towards reclaiming its power when Putin comes into office in 2000, suggesting once again the hesitant nature of peace in Europe.